If you're a night shift worker or you know someone who is a night shift worker, this is actually really important to know. It's one strategy that could be helpful in terms of helping to decrease cancer risk, specifically related around night shift work. You might not know this, but the International Agency for Cancer Research has actually categorized night shift work as a group 2A carcinogen or probably cancer causing to humans, specifically if it disrupts the circadian rhythm. This is in the same category as things like red meat, HPV infections, DDT, and so much more. If you haven't seen my video on red meat and cancer, I'll put the link below so you can check that out as well. But let's get started first by describing what a circadian rhythm actually is. Your circadian rhythm is an internal clock by which your body actually does a lot of different things and by which processes happen. This is what actually tells our body that it's time to wake up, that it's time to eat, and it also tells us when to sleep and so many other things. It's roughly a 24-hour clock, just like our external clock, but it can be impacted by environmental and external cues. Things like light, for example. At nighttime, light can be a cue for your body to actually decrease the production of melatonin, which is a sleep hormone, and increase the production of something like cortisol, which is actually your stress hormone that helps you get going throughout the day, and then could impact your sleep in terms of decreasing the quality and the quantity of sleep that you're able to get because your body's processes are aligning with something that's external to it, but it's actually not the right time for those things to be happening. Night shift work can then actually cause you to lose this circadian rhythm or to disrupt the circadian rhythm. And it also appears that your circadian rhythm is actually really protective in helping to reduce your cancer risk. So when we disrupt it, it also disrupts your body's ability to be able to then decrease some of those cancerous type processes. So how much night shift work do you have to do in order to be concerned about disruption for that circadian rhythm? Risks are actually higher if you have night shift work for at least 3 hours between the hours of 12 a.m. or midnight to 5 a.m. If you work on night shifts 3 or more nights per week, if you had long-term night shift work, so 10 or more years. And there are also other factors that are more common among night shift workers, which could contribute to your cancer risk. Things like high stress, smoking, higher than recommended alcohol amounts, poor diet, not getting enough physical activity or exercise, being overweight or obese. As a night shift worker, you might also have a decreased exposure to sunlight and lower levels of vitamin D, meaning that you don't have as much of that protective impact from vitamin D as well. But it's not just cancer that it could increase the risk for. Night shift work has actually been linked to increases in risk for things like diabetes, heart disease, stroke, metabolic disorders, sleep disorders, hormone type issues, whether it's irregular periods or reproductive issues, digestive issues, mental health issues, and so much more. So this particular strategy that I wanted to discuss with you that could potentially help to lower your cancer risk, even if you're a night shift worker, is actually something that came out from a study that was published this year. This particular study was actually funded by the Canadian Cancer Society, and it's something that looks really promising. Here's one thing they found that could potentially help to decrease your cancer risk: melatonin supplementation if you're a night shift worker. What they found was that melatonin supplementation, or supplementing with melatonin that's just over the counter, could actually help to increase the body's ability to repair DNA damage and in that way help to decrease cancer risk. Previous studies before this had actually found that night shift workers produce less melatonin, or the sleep hormone that we produce a lot of during nighttime. When there's light of any sort, it can actually decrease and minimize the amount of melatonin that your body produces. This can actually affect your body's ability to repair oxidative DNA damage, increasing the risk of developing certain cancers, things like breast cancer, for example, and prostate cancers, and other types of cancers as well. This was a randomized placebo-controlled trial. They got 40 participants. Half of them were actually given 3 milligrams of melatonin, while the other half were actually given a placebo pill, essentially something that didn't have anything really in it that could be therapeutic in any way or impact their melatonin levels, and they tested their urine. What they were testing for in the urine was actually a specific biomarker that gave us clues in terms of how the body was able to deal with DNA damage and repair. It's really interesting what they found. They found that 3 milligrams of melatonin supplementation consumed by night shift workers before they fell asleep during the daytime, during their daytime sleep time essentially, produced a large increase in circulating melatonin levels, so there was an increase in melatonin altogether. It also led to an 80% increase in this biomarker in their urine during the daytime sleep period, meaning that that melatonin supplement was actually helping their body to repair DNA much better And in that way, it was actually helping to mitigate some of the impact of having this night shift work and also that disruption of the circadian rhythm as well. They also found that supplementing with melatonin helped in terms of sleep duration and also decreasing awakenings during sleep. This study is actually really promising because it really shows one potential strategy that could be helpful for people that really do have to work at nighttime and have this night shift work scheduling that could potentially disrupt their circadian rhythm. It only took 3 milligrams of melatonin to have some impact on the body's ability to actually repair DNA and in that way potentially help to lower cancer risk. Other things we do know about night shift workers is that it becomes even more important to get the lifestyle steps in play. Ensuring a good healthy diet as well as exercise and other things can also help to actually decrease cancer risk. It isn't just this supplementation, but it's a whole look at your lifestyle habits that can be really critical and important when we already know that something could potentially increase your risk for cancer. Also know that there are so many other ways where we could start to help decrease these risks and also lead to a healthier you. While more research is absolutely needed, we also know that melatonin in general, based on the studies, is not something that's addictive and you can come off of it very easily. For individuals who might start supplementing with melatonin, it is important to know that there could be potential side effects, things like feeling drowsy the next morning or feeling a little bit more tired in general. Some people actually have more vivid dreams when they have melatonin as well. Other thing that I've seen with some of my patients is they're super sensitive to melatonin and it doesn't wire them down, it actually wires them up a lot and they're not able to sleep. Those are some considerations to make. If you're on medications like sleep meds, for example, you may not be able to take melatonin at the same time. So please speak to your healthcare practitioner to ensure that this is something that you can do. I hope this was helpful and see you in the next one.